Thank you for tuning into the Manifest Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Lima Pasha, Executive Wellness Coach and Organizational Consultant. I'm so excited to come to you today for another episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about mindfulness and my executive wellness system that's designed to help you stop stress and beat burnout. Janelle, Dr. Green is going to interview me and learn about what's new and what's next. We have some great new releases for you, some freemiums and ways for you to get involved with our community. So we're going to dive in with this interview and look forward to sharing with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lima Pasha. As you said, I'm Dr. Janelle Green, podiatrist and whole foods plant-based nutrition coach. I offer coaching for clients that have uncontrolled type 2 diabetes, that are concerned about limb loss and looking for natural, holistic, plant-based ways to prevent limb loss and reverse their type 2 diabetes. So thank you for having me. I want to start off with an icebreaker. So as I was scrolling through your book, Activate Wellness, which is an amazing title, Activate Your Wellness, which is an amazing title. As I got closer toward the end, you talked about your ritual of having tea. And so I thought we could break the ice by sharing our favorite teas. So what's your favorite tea?
Well, that's a great question. Sometimes it changes, but what I really enjoy right now during this season is chai tea because of all the different spices in there, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and the ginger. And I enjoy that that's a tea that you can use with milk. So it's kind of like a more of a rich, soothing tea. And then other teas, sometimes I enjoy peppermint tea with lemon. And yeah, I enjoy so many teas, but the one that really sticks out is chai tea.
Yes, nice. I like peppermint tea too. And like you, it kind of changes. When I first started drinking tea, I think peppermint might have been my favorite. Peppermint and chamomile were some of my favorite teas. Now, sometimes I'll buy a tea blend from one of my favorite tea suppliers. It's actually called Congest Less. So it has peppermint and chamomile and a bunch of different other tea leaves in it to kind of relieve congestion and prevent it. But one of the things that I love about that tea is it's a nice sedative. It really relaxes me and puts me in a mode to kind of decompress. And I usually drink it around bedtime, so I'm off to a good sleep.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing now, another type of tea that I'm really enjoying is my turmeric tea. And I add a little almond milk to that. And that also relaxes me a whole lot as well. And my daughter drinks it too, which I love. And so those are some of my favorite teas. And then, of course, I have my hot water with just a little dash of lemon in it. I guess you could call that a light lemon tea. But yeah, those are my favorites. I'm really enjoying the turmeric tea and just the warmth. It's really warm to add the almond milk. That I like that. It's kind of satisfying because I don't usually add milk to my regular herbal teas. I just do the water. So
yes, you reminded me of golden milk tea. Do you call it golden milk tea? I haven't had that. Wow. But I have to add that back into my regimen. Like sometime I'll do certain teas, and then just like you reminded me of that one, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't had that one in a while. Let me make that. It's a really enjoyable tea. And just like you said, chamomile does kind of makes me sleepy a little bit. Yeah. Someone told me that, a doctor told me that chamomile is a good tea to drink, like when you want to transition from, if you have a busy day going, and then you want to kind of switch off to a relaxed mode. Sometimes it's harder to unwind and go to sleep, but chamomile tea, I hear, is pretty good for that.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I'll keep that in mind as we, as busy working, women to kind of switch. You have to switch gears a lot. So I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep
That's
that in
really nice to know, like, which teas work well for which things, because they do sometimes have different effects on you. Like some will make you sleepier, some will give you more energy, like the ginger. So teas are so much fun.
I want you to talk about how our work can be volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, and define and talk about how mental resilience can help one with, through that process. Mental resilience is something that Lima Pasha talks about in her book, and just the importance of it. And so mental resilience is necessary as we deal with these ambiguous, uncertain situations in our work environment that may require us to switch, gears. So talk about mental resilience a little bit.
Yes, during these times, it's said that one of the most important skills that we need to have is adaptability, because we're going to need to adapt at a faster rate, a faster pace over the next several years, just as we've had to adapt rapidly recently, and in order to thrive, we kind of have to have different approaches to adaptability to manage the stress and prevent burnout. One of the techniques is mindfulness, with mindfulness meditation being a great tool that we use in the workplace to help people to balance their emotions, to be able to focus better, to get more creative, instead of circling around with the stress. You can get more focused and be more resilient when you just kind of ground yourself by taking 10 minutes to meditate. 10 minutes, one of the ways to meditate is the diaphragm breathing, where you expand your belly in and you have that breath awareness, and you have the awareness of the breath as it goes through your diaphragm. That taking that 10 minutes to pause, letting that be a time where you're not focused on rumination, you're not focused on fear. That helps you to be a better decision maker, to be less anxious, and to be a better communicator overall, because when you do start to communicate with people, you're not communicating out of fear and worry about the past or the future. During your meditation sessions, it's a time when you can switch that off, and you become more used to it over time of practicing meditation. So yes, as Janelle said, resilience is critical during this time. Volatile meaning, with changes in the workplace, lots of baby boomers retiring, technology has become, more and more commonplace. So people are adjusting to different uses for technology that they didn't have before. And they're also learning to communicate more with each other. It's not the hierarchy system that we had in the past is not as beneficial. People need to learn how to communicate in a way where they're able to persuade each other, and they're able to have love and compassion with one another. So that's where the mindfulness comes in, and definitely adapting during these times. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is how to stop stress and beat burnout, because stress can come from a number of factors that we talked about. One is a toxic work environment, and another can be a microaggression that people do experience within the work environment. Sometimes you could just be ready to transform your health and wellness, and you don't have the tools. So that can bring stress. That's three of the stress factors that can be attributed to burnout. And so just kind of trying to overcome that tiredness and exhaustion and overwhelm that can happen when you're leveling up, going from one state to the next, whether or not you're in a toxic environment. Making change is a challenge. So want those tools to be able to deal with change.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad that you kind of talked about um, just sitting and being mindful, even, for just 10 minutes, because I was going to ask, what's a tangible example at work? And kind of along those same lines, in your book, you talk about plugging in. We have to plug into different areas of our life to recharge. Can you expand on that a little bit more and just let us know, how can we plug in so that we can get that energy to fuel us and kind of keep us going?
Yes. So I have a workshop called Renew, Recharge, Reclaim. And the concept is to help you go from drained to reclaimed. Right now, the cry from women, especially women executives and women balancing so many different priorities, is I'm tired. You're tired because we're juggling so many different things. And it's good to have tools in order to be able to make this transition to one level or one state of where you are to the next in order to grow.
Mhm.
So usually when you're growing, you notice gaps. And then that's when the stress starts to pile up because you begin judging yourself or you feel inadequate. The tools that I give you are designed to kind of help you when you're stuck. When you're stuck, you may have fear, you may experience doubt based on like worrying about, what happened in the past. And, so we want you to be able to savor life. And in my book, I talk about 7 different things that you can do on a daily basis to help you savor life and to help you recharge when you get to that place of exhaustion, or to prevent you from getting exhausted. I found that a lot of times people will try to do an isolated thing, like maybe lose weight or something. And in order to really do that effectively, you need energy. You need like so much energy. You need to keep recharging your battery, like how do I face the challenges and adapt in a way that's not going to make me so exhausted that I can't recover and deal with my team and deal with other things that I need to do. So one step is definitely practicing mindfulness meditation every day. And I have instructions for how to do that in my book. And you'll find that also on my YouTube channel, a few guided meditation practices. Another thing is definitely gratitude, because we can get stuck in a state where we're complaining about what's currently happening, or we're worried about getting to the future. And so that stops us from being able to really enjoy the moment. And so gratitude gets us back into like, this is what I'm already thankful for. Even if I don't have any changes in my life, I'm already grateful for being where I am today and what I've already experienced. And so that gets you out of the loop of anxiety. And that's one of the other tools that you can use. Another thing is I am a certified wound wellness advocate. And women, we hold a lot of stress in our bodies, in our uterine region. And I found that through breath work, you're able to release some of that. There's called a perineum breath breathing technique that I share with you. You can release that stress and anxiety that you hold sometime in your womb space. And that holding on to that anxiety can exacerbate fibroids and other things. And it can also keep your energy stuck in a place where you can't communicate effectively, and where you're having so much added anxiety to what you're already doing. You're not able to as we talk about, you know, talk to your loved ones in a good way, because you're holding on to so much stress in your body that when you speak, it comes out, and when you act, it comes out. So by being able to have those breathing techniques that focus on releasing what might no longer serve you. If you have fibroids, you want to release those. Part of it is diet, but another part of it is releasing the stress that you're holding on to in your body. And meditation and breathing techniques help you relieve stress that you can hold on to in your body. So another thing that I talk about a lot is speaking with kindness to your loved ones. And it can be really challenging because we don't necessarily have the tools if we didn't experience that growing up, or if you're so stressed out by doing a number of different things and you don't have the techniques on how to communicate with your loved ones. All of that anxiety can just get built up, and then you can say or do things that you regret. So it's good to have those tools, the meditation, the gratitude, being aware of your body and releasing the anxiety, the tiredness, and just continuing with that. And another thing I talk about is definitely the importance of exercise and nutrition. There's certain things in the diet that can exacerbate anxiety and stress. And, some of the things that I talk about in the book are monosodium glutamate, certain processed ingredients, and the importance of reading the food labels. So this is related to mind, body, and soul wellness. It's not just one isolated thing that you do, it's becoming a lifestyle to support you and to aid you in transitioning and leveling up, because leveling up is not easy. It's hard. Growing can be hard, but we give you the tools to activate your wellness and grow with love, being kind to yourself. When you don't hit your mark or follow all of the tools and steps, you'll understand that it is a lifestyle. It's not just a one and done, and then you have others in community on the journey with you. That's it.
Oh, that's amazing. And thank you for sharing those tools. And as you're talking about it and just talking about just the ability to grow and how tools to activate your wellness and the energy that's going to be required in order for you to get to that next level, it makes me think about our activation energy, right? Mm-hmm. And so once we're starting off as a new project or a new area of our lives that we want to achieve, it's harder at first, but then eventually it becomes easier. Or does it? Can you talk about, once we get to that level of, I guess what we might call success in our meditation practice or in our ability to communicate, or we've, gone through all the steps that you outline in your book and we've done that successfully. Now what? Does it get easier?
Well, the human nature, we're always designed to want more. So once you master one level, then you're going to want to grow more. So you're going to continuously need to practice a lifestyle that supports growth. I think the most important thing for us is to just be kind to ourselves. Right. And what I talk about in my book, it's a lifestyle designed to help you through transitional stages and to grow with love. There are always going to be challenges that we face, but if we are aware that we can savor life even amidst those challenges that we're experiencing, we don't have to just get stuck in focusing on the painful aspects. because sometimes we will, they'll be good in our life, but we just want to focus on that one thing. It's like, okay, my house is not as clean as I'd like it to be right now. And, there's like ebb and flow, everything is not going to be perfect all at once, but we have to find some balance. What I want to address is the 5 stressors that, are very common that the book kind of helps you deal with. And we talked about workplace challenges, microaggression, and adapting to new leadership roles. But another big one is the work-life balance.
Mhm.
And so definitely want to continue on that path.
So as you were talking and just kind of work-life balance and, the small acknowledging, my house might not be where I want it to be, but acknowledging the small wins. And as I did my gratitude meditation this morning, it was really energizing and charged me up because it was an opportunity for me to disengage from the material things and really just be and have gratitude for my existence, my breath, and all the things that really fundamentally matter to our existence and who we are.
Yes.
And I think that gratitude, at least in my practice, has really helped me to kind of disassociate from, my room not being the way it wants to be, and really just focusing in on the things that are really, really important and really helping me to appreciate that. And so you're absolutely right. It does bring you to a place of peace and allows and energizes you, right? Because it helps you to put things into perspective.
Right. Because when we're in a place where we're judging ourselves, that zaps your energy. You're like, oh, you're and we're trained to do that, especially as women, is to hyper judge ourselves. So that's where mindfulness comes in. You become focused and aware, and you understand what you're thinking about, but you don't have to judge it in a sense that it's bad or it's good. You can release what no longer serves you, but you don't have to hold on to it in a more toxic way.
Absolutely. And you talk about that in your book. You use the term self-punishment, and we do it
Yes.
intentionally or unintentionally. You want to kind of explain a little bit more? Do you feel?
Yes, that is so true. Sometimes it's common for us to, come up with a goal and say we want to do something, but then that goal becomes, instead of something that, should be something you're looking forward to, with joy, but it becomes something that you're so anxious about. And anxiety is actually a habit. So you're like, oh, I got to do this. And that is something that you're just spiraling around instead of having joyful anticipation about it. So the anxious apprehension towards your goal is going to repel it from you. It's going to make it so that it's less likely to be achieved. You're less likely to achieve that weight loss. And then you'll eat the piece of pizza or whatever, and you say, oh, I just had to reward myself this one time, or, and you're talking to other people about what you did wrong and things like that. And so you're really saying you're rewarding yourself, but it's actually punishment, and it's like a self-perpetuating process. And so we help people to get to a place where they have joyful anticipation about their goals, set up things that you enjoy around your goal versus creating a goal and doing it in a way that's going to make you more worried, more frustrated, and just, it is that punishment, that anxiety and that punishment that we need to learn to focus Mhm.
Yeah. Now, since we talked before, we've had the goal, and I'm just going to diverge really quickly to kind of change our diets for the rest of this
Yeah.
month. Talk about how you set yourself up. So my goal is to be raw food, not only plant-based, but raw food plant-based. If you want, I can, let you know and fill you in how it's been for me. But talk
Okay.
about your personal goal and what you decided that you were going to do this month and how you set things up so that it's not stressful, so that you are creating situations where you can positively and honestly reward yourself, and it's not a self-punishment situation.
Right, right. Yes. So it's important to find things that you like and that you
Mhm.
enjoy. Don't set it up as like, oh, I'm on this diet and I'm going to eat all this nasty food that I don't like. And it's just going to be 7 days. No, think of it more as a lifestyle. And what are the foods that you like that are already healthy that you can incorporate more of those? And then you'll be more likely to stick with it.
Mhm.
So for my goal, I did a lot of I did intermittent fasting until noon. So had my first meal at noon. Before noon, I would have teas and I had fruit and things like that. So was some eating, but not solid meal. And then it really helped me to kind of was a juicing. So I had green leafy vegetables with an apple, juice that in my Vitamix. And it just helped me to kind of have things that I enjoyed and see the vegetables in a way like, okay, these are good. I did run into some challenges because I didn't have as much time as I thought I would to prepare the juices in advance. So, but I stuck to it for the most part, and I did, lose some weight.
Congratulations.
And I think it was definitely the more intentional about intermittent fasting that helped me. Um, and so just setting it up with joyful anticipation and not feeling anxiety toward the goal. I made exercise a little easier. I try to exercise around different things. When I'm in an office, I'll stop to, do squats or I'll do some push-ups against the wall. I tell my son about some of the things I do. He's like, if you're not in the gym, it doesn't count. And I'm like, but I don't have time to go to the gym.
I'm
So
like, that's
I
not
take the
true.
stairs, I danced on Friday.
Yes,
So
that's
I'm
different.
incorporating what I do as a lifestyle, versus
Mhm.
making it something where I'm doing a boot camp or something where it's like, it's going to be a 5 days of punishment and then and then I'm back to square one. No, what I'm trying to do is create habits that I will continue. And sometimes what you have to do is a refresh, like what we're doing coming up, because you'll get off track. And
Mhm.
so just a reminder, like, oh, these things are available to me, certain teas that you can drink and certain things that can help you just give you a boost when you need to have more success.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And you definitely have to incorporate it into your lifestyle and make it so it's not stressful. And since we've been here, through the podcast that we've done, we talked a lot about the standard American diet, right? Some people call it SAD for short. In your book, you talk about the American mindset, or is it the standard American mindset? What is that? And is it different from I'm sure the mindset is different from the diet. Talk about the standard American diet. Mindset. What
Yeah,
is it, and how does it
right.
relate to our lives?
The way I see it is growth is the challenge with the standard American mindset because we get used to doing things the same way that we've always done them, and we'll say that we're doing it this way because our parents did it this way. And now we have so much information available to us. But of course, we still have to be cognizant of the information that we access and make sure we're using the right information. So we have to take it through a test and, like who's the source, and then we may have to try things out on our own to see how it impacts your body. So when I made a transition to more of a plant-based diet, I had to see, how did I feel on this diet? What was the long-term and short-term results? And then you also have to adjust and adapt as I went along, that some things work better for me than others, and do research and look at trusted guides and books for information on what to eat. Don't just say, we have to go through a drive-through or doing different things, because a lot of people, we are stuck in habits. So that's what I mean when I say growth mindset. We're letting our habits run our lives, and we have to realize, if we want to grow, that habits are, unfortunately, it's painful sometimes to change a habit, but they can be changed over time. If you have faith, if you have a reason why you want to change, and then have faith that you can change, then those habits can be changed over time. But you have to just believe in yourself and know that it is a form of punishment when you continue with the habit that is no longer serving you.
Absolutely. That's key. One of the things I like to encourage my clients to is, when we encounter those repeated points in our lives where we're constantly doing habits that we know are harmful to us, seek out a therapist, right? Like, get to the bottom of it. You talk about trauma in your book and how trauma can keep you on cycles of doing things to create more drama and do drama over and over again. So seeking out a therapist. What other tools do you have in your book to helping people overcome that trauma? Mindfulness is definitely one of them. Gratitude is another one. But you talk about trauma and drama. So tell about that a little bit more.
Yes. The main thing is self-awareness. A lot of times we are not aware that we are acting out of drama or trauma. We're not aware that we have these habits in our lives that we can seek out help to change. So that's key. First, tapping into your self-awareness. Meditation helps with self-awareness, but the tools that I talk about in the book really kind of help you to examine your frame of mind when you're making decisions, so that you're acting in a joyful state. So,
Absolutely. And I'm going to mention one of the things that my coach has said to me, and as it applies to you, and you mentioned this in your book. So once you figured out the trauma that you're experiencing, you become self-aware, but you have to realize that you cannot DIY it. Just because we're self-aware that we are, our engine is destroyed, in our car, we might be aware of it, but we are not. I know I'm not the person to replace the engine. I wouldn't even know where to begin. So self-awareness is the first step. And you talk about it in your book. Get a coach, get a therapist, get somebody. So once to even affirm that you are correct in your, that you're correct in your mindset. We might get a second opinion. If we get a diagnosis, when we go to the doctor, we might say, oh, well, this doctor said this, let me get a second opinion and go to another doctor. But when we think about things in our minds, we don't usually go to somebody and say, let me get a second opinion, but we should, we should get a second opinion. We should get help once we become aware of what's going on.
Definitely, that's critical. Once you become self-aware, definitely get help. And that's why we talked about in the beginning,
Mhm,
the rallying cry that, is common right now is I'm tired or I'm overwhelmed. And we get tired and we get overwhelmed because we're not able to seek out help. So seeking
mhm,
out a coach that can help you get past that state of tiredness and exhaustion and overwhelmed and help you
mhm,
fill in the gaps to get to your goal,
mhm,
because leveling up is hard. Going from one state of being to another state does require a coach or someone to kind of can help you guide you along that way because they've been on that path before
mhm,
and they've coached others. Last year, I coached several women, one who had fibroids, and she's been working on different fasting and changing her diet, mindfulness and meditation. And another thing we do is goal setting. And she's been pretty successful so far, so it takes it takes work and it takes investing in a coach as well.
mhm, mhm. So would you say that your book is kind of like an action plan for someone who has, become aware that they are drained and they need to reclaim their time and energy? Would you say that the resources that you provided here are like a first step action plan to kind of getting on that path?
Yes, it is a first step on how to go from drained to reclaimed. When we become aware that that's what's happening, we're drained by things that are going on in the workplace, we're drained by trying to balance work and life. It's such a success when we just stop and say, okay, it's not just something that I have to do about this. I'm not going to add more to my to-do list and make myself even more stressed, but I'm going to become aware and then I'm going to seek out help.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, is there anything else you wanted to add that readers should be aware of? Tell us where they can find your book.
So I have a book called Activate Wellness, Building a Workplace Community for Executives. It's available on my website at www.limapasha.com. And that book is going to be free. And the other half of my book is going to be available wherever books are sold and on Amazon. And that is where I dive even further into how to go from drain to reclaim. So visit my website, www.limapasha.com, and you can go ahead and download my free book. And then you will learn how to gain access to my big release book, and I'm so excited. And then also become a part of the community and tell us how you're doing with these new tools that you're using to, get unstuck and deal with the fear. Adapting, like we talked about, is so important right now. How to adapt to all these changes. First we're all remote, then we're in person. All these changes can really impact us in a negative way. So we just need all the resources and tools that we can get. So
Mhm.
remember, abundance is everywhere. We just have to make ourselves available to receive them. So live a life of purpose with gratitude, visualization, and community. And I'll see you next time.
Take care.